Next on Good Morning El Paso, taxpayers in the Isleta School District have a big decision ahead of them. Should taxes be raised to pay for school improvements? We have your complete coverage.
And Eastsiders were hoping a major construction project would wrap up this week, but it's not going to happen. The traffic alert you need to know about.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Millions of Americans bundling up and layering today as records cold could hit much of the eastern U.S. Your complete storm track weather coverage continues.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Good Morning El Paso. Thanks for joining us. I'm Floren.
And I'm Stephanie Valle. It is 6 o'clock on your Friday, and it's starting off beautiful outside if you just look at the picture.
Yeah, you look at the picture, don't step out in it because the winds are already picking up, and Crystal's been warning us all week long that this was going to happen. The wind's coming in already, right?
Yeah, we are looking at that windy weather starting today. This morning, some breeziness, and then the windy weather, well, it's looking like it's going to last several days in a row, unfortunately. So let's talk about your temperatures. Outside this morning, we're now at 58 degrees in El Paso. Sun's a little more like it. We're at 5-mile-per-hour winds. Our relative humidity, 26%. So we are not expecting rain with that value just too low and dry. In Las Cruces, 47. Our temperature, it feels like 42. Winds now picking up to 14 miles per hour. Again, some breeziness this morning. Will move windier through the later part of your day. We should stay dry throughout today. We aren't forecasting any rain, but we will have extra clouds beginning to move in too, and there is a chance of rain by your weekend. We'll talk about that coming up in just a couple minutes.
All right, Crystal, thank you. It's just the beginning of a long road for the Isleta School District. The district approved a $452 million bond proposal, and it's the taxpayers who will have the final say come May 9th. The plan itself has changed since the start of the bond pitch, increasing about $10 million since we first reported this draft proposal just on Monday. De La Torre says Dr. Isabel De La Torre, the superintendent, says the debt will be presented to voters in an all-or-nothing vote.
I've never done it as a cafeteria menu where you get options, and the reason for that is if I tell people that these are needs at our schools, I'm not willing to compromise on any of those needs. I need their full support. I need their full support behind the facility master plan and the project list as presented.
De La Torre says he feels confident of the work put into the bond, to the point where the district is already working on contracts to manage the projects after the bond passes. He says if it does pass, the district will have limited time to work on getting projects done over just 5 summers, and he wants to get started right away. Now, in case the bond doesn't pass, the contract would then be null and void.
Here's a look at how much YISD schools are going to get exactly. $65.7 million for Bel Air, $89 million for Del Valle, the big one $94 million for Eastwood, nearly $47 million for Hanks, $26 million for Parkland. Also $42 million for Riverside, $39 million for Isleta, and almost $50 million for other projects. Now, this vote was not unanimous. Trustee Ana Dueñas was the only one to vote against it. She represents the Riverside area and says her schools need repairs and that her concerns are not being addressed. If voters do approve YISD's $450 million bond, it will mean more money out of the taxpayers' pockets. So how much more can people who live in the district expect to pay? ABC7's Jerry Nahada crunched the numbers for us.
Taxes can get complicated, and you don't want to have to blow the dust off of one of these. Well, YISD has a property tax calculator online that makes things clear. We're going to do a quick walkthrough. This is what the tax calculator looks like online. It's fairly simple to use. We're going to use a home worth $100,000 as an example. Right off the top, something that YISD promotes is a unique 20% homestead exemption. No other district has this, and it's been around 2 decades.
If you provided people with a 20% homestead exemption on the value of their property, their home, it would be more attractive to families to purchase homes in the Isleta Independent School District.
With the exemption, the $100 home for tax purposes now becomes an $80,000 home. There's also a state-sponsored homestead tax exemption at $15,000. So now you'd be paying taxes as if the home were worth $65,000. If the bond passes, the tax rate would be $1.50 for every $100 your home is worth. Your tax bill, $975 a year or $81.25 a month. But Superintendent Xavier De La Torre says if voters approve the bond, taxpayers wouldn't see the tax hike all at once. The taxes would go up in a 5-year period. As far as when, it's not exactly known.
We can't be sure. We'll have to get together with a financial advisor. The series are dependent on the number of projects that you want to initiate every year over that 5-year period.
And remember, homeowners 65 years and older will not see an increase in their YISD tax rate. We have the link to that property tax calculator on KVIA.com. Just look under the links mentioned section on the homepage. Reporting for Good Morning El Paso, I'm Jerry Nájera.
We have a traffic alert for those of you on the east side. We've learned drivers will have to wait at least until the beginning of March for work to be completed on Montwood by Eastwood High School. The 2-year-long project was supposed to wrap up this week, but city officials say crews still need 2 more weeks to finish. Now, the city is asking everyone to just be patient. Easier said than done for nearby business owners, though. The closure will begin at 6 a.m. on Monday.
A live look at traffic right now. I-10 and Zaragoza looking good. East side nice and clear. We had some construction earlier, but things are nice and open now. That's the key word this morning as you head out the door.
Our complete coverage of Oscars 2015 continues right here on Good Morning El Paso.
So what exactly does a seat filler do? We hear from one woman who's been rubbing elbows with the stars now for 15 years.
Wow, what a job. I wish I could get that job. And record cold continues to blast the nation. The Great Lakes are almost completely frozen over.
And cold temps are not the case here in the borderline, but we have our own problems that we're going to have to deal with, right?
Yeah, and Crystal Clay is going to explain. Crystal.
I'm sorry, but it's the winds we're talking about. How high will they gust today? And what about for your weekend? The answer is coming up.
This is ABC 7, where news comes first.